Hey guys, welcome back to Ridgeback Farm. Today's video, tractor has a boo-boo. We're gonna have to fix the boo-boo, and I'll walk you guys through that. First though, if you like the content, you want to see more of it, want to know when I'm posting videos, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, give the video a thumbs up, and click the little bell. So for today's video, the boo-boo on the tractor is a bent tie rod. And if I bring you guys in here, all right, so this is the Mahindra 1626. So the boo-boo today that we're going to be working on is a bent tie rod. You can see here, right in the middle there, it's bowed in. You can kind of see that there are some scratch marks there, some chafe marks where whatever treasure in the woods that snuck up on me hit. I think everybody who has had a tractor before that has used it in the woods or in terrain where the treasures, if you will, are unknown, may have had this issue at one point or another. I know personally this is the second time that I've had this issue. First time, bent it back, no problem. So we're going to recreate that and show you how that's done today. So as I stated, this is the Mahindra 1626. It's a 25 horsepower tractor. It has been phenomenal for me. This issue is 100% my fault. It is not a product of the manufacturing, anything like that. I was using this to clear a brush pile. Actually, if I turn the camera around, you can see the brush pile right in there. So you can see that there was some rocks and stones and stuff, and what ended up happening, I believe, I don't actually remember hitting anything, is as I was pushing through that, probably a stick or a rock came up and contacted the tie rod, and it is a weak point by design. It is the disposable piece, if you will, and bent it, plain and simple. It is, like I said, the second time this has happened to me. First time, I know exactly what it was because I watched it happen. It was a stump that I had cut. It was probably about a 5-inch diameter tree that I had cut it too high and didn't realize it, and clipped the underside of the tie rod and just kind of smushed it. That was actually more of a U shape or a V shape rather than a little tweak here. So should be able to heat it back up, use a jack to kind of torque it with chains on either side, pump the jack, torque it back into place, and be good to go. So hang tight and we'll get her done. Right, so the first thing we've got to do is there is a castle nut here on the bottom of the tie rod. There is a cotter pin in there. I'm just going to go ahead and remove that. Trying to find the bent portion of it. There we go. Perfect. So this design here of the tie rod is actually behind the axle. It is a little bit, we'll say, below it. So something to keep watch for if you guys have the same tractor, same tie rod design. Like I said, this is the second time it's happened to me. So admittedly, I lost track of where my surroundings were. But nice thing is that it is sacrificial. Now I could go and buy another one. I think they're well over $100. But don't really need to do that. So at least not at the moment. If this comes and we're not able to have success here, then we may have a different story on our hands. But my goal is to just bend her back, use a square, and true her up as much as I can. Doesn't need to be perfect. This isn't an off-road vehicle, and get her back in business. This looks like 17. First shot. So that's a 17 millimeter castle nut. I'm gonna go ahead and pop her off. Now, one thing you want to make sure of is you do not just whack on this thing with a hammer. You'll damage the threads on the bottom here. So I have two tools that we are going to go ahead and give a whirl. So the first one is just it's a tie rod puller. So what this does is it actually goes on the bottom here. So it sits in the center of that bolt, and then it rests on the outer portions here of the tie rod. And from there you just take, oh, that's going to be a little bit bigger, 18, nope, 19, yep. And then from there what you'll do is you just tighten this down here, and it basically just pops it up. And you can get these from Harbor Freight, and that, see, all good. But I got this one from Harbor Freight, about 15 bucks, I think it was, and obviously did the job. The other one is what's called a pickle fork, and essentially what it is it's a metal fork that you slide underneath the tie rod ball in here, and you hit it with a hammer, and it's got a tapered edge to it, and it basically drives the tie rod up. Sometimes it's not as effective if you have a tie rod that's been in there for a while, rusted in there maybe. So what we're going to go ahead and do is I'll take you guys around to the next side. I'm going to start the tractor up, rotate the wheels, and get that other end up over there. So what I did do, just to make it easier to access the ends, was I just cranked the steering all the way to one area, and then all the way to the other. Now, again, this is a cotter pin here, and get it exactly lined up. These cotter pins sometimes are a pain from the angle and whatnot. Yep, that'll undoubtedly happen. At least it's not, 30 degrees outside. Let's see if I'll do that a third time, and if I'll learn my lesson. What would probably be better is if I used a flathead screwdriver. Let's see. All right, let's see if this will be a case where if you can't find the tool you need, make one work. She wants to come. Maybe not. This is going to be a video where people on YouTube watch a guy try to get a cotter pin out for 45 minutes. But he will prevail, even if he has to replace the cotter pin. There we go. Aha! Stubborn little cow. All right. And again, 17 millimeter on that. So, pull this away and see. Zoom out a little bit, maybe. All right, you can see the U shape in her. So, what we're going to try and do is, in theory, put a jack underneath here, chain it on both ends, heat this up, and then try and straighten her out. So we'll see how well that works. Stay tuned. All right, so what I've got here is I ended up taking my car jack and putting the tie rod in the middle. And I think I'm going to try and do it without um, heating it first. And I think a lot of people will say, oh, you're going to weaken it that way. And if you do it cold, and I'm okay with this being the sacrificial piece. Um, you know, I'm not worried about it from that standpoint. So I'm going to see, I think it's a pretty soft metal, as it's meant to be a sacrificial piece. So I'm going to go ahead and see if I can't try and bend this in. Again, just trying to do it as straight as I can. But basically, this is just, one chain wrapped around the bottom and then around the ends of the tie rod, obviously staying away from the ball end as much as possible. The threads there, don't want to damage those, nor do you want to impact the actual joint there. So let me see if I can go ahead and give this in a couple of pumps, and what you'll probably see is the tie rod actually bending. So let's see what we can get, and we'll kind of check it as we go. And kind of have to step on the front here. I think that is actually definitely is bending it. Now, what I may have to do is just shift it over a little bit. I have to move this. Just kind of keep going until we get to the point of having it straight. Well, it's definitely going, which is good. So the only thing that would probably be better is if I had some weight on the front to just kind of help it stay seated. And kind of what you want to do is eyeball it and go a little bit farther past where straight is, so that um, when it springs back afterwards, it kind of relaxes. It's not doesn't go negative, if you will, of where you had intended it to. So you can kind of see there, it's it's kind of bowed going this way, but that's just because of where the chains are. But let's go ahead and take a peek at that and see what we've got. So again, not looking for it to be perfect. Like I said, it's not an off-road vehicle. Alignment at high speeds isn't really the thing here. You just want to make sure that there's no stress when it's in four-wheel drive, anything like that. Just make sure that it's as close as you can. It may bend again in the future. It may bend in a different spot. It may bend back in the same spot. So I'm not all that worried about it, honestly. One thing, just to kind of give you guys a better image, I can actually do it this way. And what we have is this, actually, and we'll use this kind of as our template a little bit, just to kind of show what the end product is. This is some backyard mechanic work. I don't have a press. I don't have not much of that kind of stuff. So when you think about it, you're maybe a scotch on the right over there, flared up. But as far as this goes, that's not horrendous. I could finagle it and finick with it a little bit more, but really, why bother? Not anything that's gonna hurt it. So I think we're good. I think we go ahead. I'm gonna clean up the ball joints a little bit, and put them back in and go from there. So stay tuned. All right, so for this, what I recommend doing is jacking the front of the tractor up, and just so that the tire can freely float. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to put this back in here and get it roughly seated on this end here. I'm just going to walk around to the other side and just straighten the tire. This one does have the hydraulic ram here that you can you turn when the wheel. This is the drive wheel, if you will, for the turning. I'm just going to go ahead on the other side, align that by hand. That's just free floating. Get the tie rod in there. We'll go ahead and put the castle nuts on and be good to go. Actually, I'm going to turn it all the way to the right on this side. Go ahead, put this castle nut back on. And then I'm going to do the same on the other side before I start torquing them down, just to make sure that it doesn't, low likelihood of it popping out. And what we'll do is we'll just straighten her out and go to the front and take a peek. Beautiful. Can't even tell there's a difference. All right, guys. Well, that does it for today's video. Appreciate you guys hanging out with us, repairing the tie rod, the bent tie rod on the Mahindra 1626. If you guys have any questions, feel free to leave me a comment. Any suggestions for future repairs? Love to hear them. Appreciate you guys hanging out with us, and we'll see you guys in the next video.